Hi, everyone. It's so great to see you. This is February 6th, 2025, and our topic tonight is immigration. So we'll start out with, okay, thank you. We're gonna start out with our introductions and the answer to our icebreaker question. So that is the name you want to be called, the pronouns you would like us to use, and the icebreaker question is your favorite vacation. So let's see. I'm going to take a minute to think about that. You want to go first?
Mama, thank you.
Okay, go ahead and say your name for the camera. I know you already said it to a few when people were starting to get on.
You can go. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael.
Marco,
I gotta keep my.
him, or King Marco.
I gotta keep my here.
Likes to be called King Marco. What's your favorite vacation? Yeah, I might have to say the same. Well, I don't know. Okay, Disney. We had when my parents had their 50th anniversary, which was I think it was 2013. We all got to go on a dual Disney vacation, half land and sea. And the cruise part of it was really nice. Anything specific you want to say about it?
May I?
Just real quick, real quick. You liked, out of all the things that Marco always talks about, the fire drill on the ship before we could take off was his favorite part.
That's funny. Everyone's
Like
accountable.
everybody getting together and talking about, what happens if
Muster. I think they call it muster.
maybe so. Okay. So I am Carol, she, her, and I guess we've had lots of amazing vacations, but that was a pretty good one. And I definitely like the cruise part of it, and especially the diving, where our whole family got to get together and do and just eat together and be together, and I really liked that on the cruise ship. It was a lot harder on land. At the cruise ship, that was great. That was just like 3 days on the cruise. So, okay, Suzette. We'll just go in the order we came on again.
My name's Suzette, and I know I'm she, her, and my favorite vacation ever was going to Orcas Island in the San Juans in the Puget Sound. And it was before I had lived in that area for 5 or 6 years in Seattle, but I never went to Orcas Island the whole time I lived there. And basically, you take a ferry to Orcas Island, and it's small, but we went before conference in Victoria, British Columbia, and it was a bunch of us friends from Resurrection, and we did a canoe, a canoe adventure, and in the ocean, and we saw orca whales and baby seals. They called the baby seals orca d'oeuvres, and saw crystal clear water with sea anemone, and just it was just so beautiful. So thank you. That was my favorite, and I will always go back anytime. Orcas Island.
That's awesome. Okay, Leo and Jared.
Okay, my name is Leo. Pronouns are he, him. Best vacation, I would say, would have to be Cancun, but not actually Cancun, because we grabbed a water taxi to go to Isla Mujeres, and Isla Mujeres was so beautiful that next time we go, we're not staying in Cancun, we're staying in Isla Mujeres.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
Just driving all over the place.
yeah.
Hi, Jared. Pronouns, all of the above, every one of them. We, she, her, they, them, he, him, all of them. I would say, I mean, my favorite we've had quite a lot of vacations. Honestly, I really like the staycations that we do, right? I really like the staycations where we're just chilling at the casa, right? You know, just vibing, you know, living our lives, right? Bed rotting, you know, like you know, Leo's vacationing style is very objective based, goal oriented. My vacation style is I like to sit in its position forever, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so yeah, it's just the chilling of it all.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, Juanita.
Hi, Juanita Hicks. She, her. My favorite vacation has been going to Italy for my 50th birthday. Stayed in Rome most of the time, but the last 3 days we went to Venice and everything was beautiful, all the history of it. We even went to like a neighborhood flea market type of place, and I got some gorgeous scarves and shoes because I'm a shoe queen. Yeah, so that was my favorite so far was Italy.
Okay, Liam and Drew.
So my name's Liam. My pronouns are he, him. My favorite vacation was also Disney. I love Disney so much. Last time I went, my sister spent like a year and a half on like online survey websites to try to earn like a couple extra dollars per survey. And she'd do like online apps where if you go to the store and you buy a product, you save a little money and it goes back into your account. So she did all these like little tiny things, just piece by piece, to do a fully financed Disney vacation for the family.
Wow.
So she used like, yeah, just like little online apps that give you a couple dollars here and there. And I mean, it was like constant every day. When she wasn't at work, she was doing these surveys. So she took us to Disney, and it was like the most fun, amazing experience ever. Like there were so many times, I don't cry very often, but there were so many times that I was like holding tears back because I was so happy because Disney was so awesome.
Oh,
So I love Disney so much. And like the experience at Disney is very consistently good, like I find, just because the staff is so ready and trained to just be the most exceptional guest service ever. Like I've never had a bad experience at Disney with the staff. They're just always on top of it. You know, and it's a hard job, so hats off to Disney. But that's mine.
One
did you
of
go to
our-
Disneyland or Disney World?
I've been to both, but I went to Disney World this time.
I knew there was a doctor that I worked with who, before she went to medical school, she was a real live Disney princess.
Mm.
He talked about how they really drill that in all the employees about making it extra special for everyone.
Look at how many
Mm.
stars came from Disney. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
incredible.
It's wild.
Okay.
So Drew, my name he him. I also have a Disney vacation that was really fun. I got to go with my band when I was in high school, so of course that was fun. You go with all your friends, you get to spend days there. But honestly, growing up, we would do a yearly family reunion for my dad's side. That was always pretty much like a week with all of them and doing all kinds of fun stuff depending on where we were, what we were doing that year. And that was always one of my favorites too.
Wow, everybody got it.
Okay, Lynn.
Hi, I'm Lynn, she, her, and I think my favorite vacation was one where um, my partner and I went to Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, with my brother and his wife and children. So it was like a family thing. We had this huge house that was right on the water and not, I mean, it was just so peaceful going to sleep to the sound of the waves and waking up to the sound of the waves and it was just gorgeous. And the city itself is so historic, and so we toured, you know, the park and I learned a lot. I love history. Never did when I was in high school, but in my older years, I learned that you know how important history is to what we're doing now, what's going on now, and so it's a historic city and it's beautiful. The food was great, the entertainment was great. It was my favorite by far.
Nice. Okay, Kreger.
Hi, I'm Kreger. Pronouns are he, they, and my favorite vacation of all time was in 2013 as well. I spent most of my life playing drums in the family band business and then with other groups, but I spent most of my life touring across the United States. But in 2013, I started dating Paul around May, and then into Paul invited me to go to France and Germany with him because he speaks both languages. He speaks French, German, Spanish, and English. And so we went to Paris and we went to Berlin, we went to München. We got on trains and took trains everywhere. It was so much fun. It was so romantic. And so that was definitely my favorite vacation. And 11 years later, and I'm still in love.
Mm.
Love.
It was that France leg of it. Yep.
That's beautiful. Okay, Kim.
I think my favorite one was that I took in 2021. In 2020, me and a friend, we had a trip to Alaska all planned out. We were gonna fly in and then go to a couple different of the big cities in Alaska, stay about a week to 10 days. But then COVID hit, so we couldn't go there. So the next year we decided to do a trip to Utah and Arizona and camper van it. So we were around to the different, rock formations and stuff like that. Like the Horseshoe Bend, the Arches National Park, things like that, and got to do a whole bunch of different things. It was just so pretty out there, and it was nice and cool. We went on like an ATV or a dune buggy type tour where they drove us over all these different rock formations and stuff, and just all kinds of crazy. But it was just, I think we were gone about 10 days, and it was just a blast. We would just find a campground, park our van, hope that they had a shower there so we could get a shower that day, and just go from there. But that was a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
That's how I lived for 3 years, Kim, in a motorhome.
Oh, well, this is
With the
definitely
band
different than a
jobs, yeah.
motorhome. The camper van literally just had beds, and then it had a little kitchenette at the very back where we had a little
Yeah.
stovetop, but no room for nothing, no bathroom, no anything. It was a lot of fun. It's a trip for sure.
Nice.
That was an
Okay.
awesome question.
Yeah, Craig, the question is your favorite vacation?
Ready? Hey everybody, Craig Puckett. Generally he, him, but any pronouns will do just fine. My favorite vacation. No, I'm so torn. So probably the first time that Adrian and I went to New York, was really amazing because I had been to New York before that in 2014 with a friend of mine and had a horrible experience. So I was really scared and thought it was going to end up awful, and it was wonderful. And we ended that trip. It was a short trip, but we ended that trip taking like a sunset cruise that we had booked, and it was amazing, and that's how I like ended up proposing to him a little bit later on the same
Mm.
cruise a couple of years later. So that was really special. But then also last year, two of our friends got married up in Rhode Island, and we went towards the end of October, and it was just the most spectacular, like New England fall trip. The weather was in perfect, like just formation for everything. It didn't rain while we were there. It was just cool and brisk, and I love the fall, and all of the leaves were changing, and we got to do just like all the fall activities. Like their wedding was at a lighthouse off of the coast, and it was amazing. And then the next day we did like apple picking in an apple orchard and had cider and like apple cider donuts. And we just lived our sorry white girl fall best lives ever.
Mm.
And it was awesome and it was amazing and we were so happy and it was just a joyous time to be with our friends that we hadn't seen in a couple of years. It was just magical the entire time. Like it was just like this is magic, this is magic, it's magic. So those were both really fantastic.
Okay.
Guy.
That's those all are happy times we all talked about. So that's beautiful. So we have talked about immigration before, and a lot of you were not present then, but this there's been just lots of changes in the last month, and so I think it's really time to talk about it again. What headlines have been bothering you the most? Does anybody?
Yes. All of them, all of the above.
Yeah, I think some of the biggest changes, just expanded enforcement. I think the ICE raids are just getting they've they're I mean they've always been awful, and they kind of went back burner, it seemed like, for a little while in some of these areas, but they're just really cruel, and just the talk of deporting millions of people is just so frightening, and the attempt of the revocation of the birthright citizenship. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just crazy. And reinstating of the Remain in Mexico. As you guys, as some of you know, we lived in Las Cruces for a while, which is right on the southern border, just right real close to El Paso. And we would go across sometimes we visited this clinic of with kids with special needs, and we would play soccer and music and stuff like that with these kids and their families and have a meal, and that was special. But that's that's right around the time that we really started seeing all the detention camps, and I mean they would just be full of you know, teens and preteens, and you would just be driving by and just see these people behind chain link fences, and it was just so disturbing. So they're saying now reinstate the Remain in Mexico, so that people have to just wait forever and ever, and they're in danger while they're waiting. So even so those are just some of the legal things, and just some of they're threatening to terminate some of the humanitarian programs, like
Say,
like DACA and things like that, and just just that so many families were reunited, and now we're just in danger of separating families all over again. It's those are just some of the things that I've read about. or heard about. And it's
The-
certainly not all. Suzette?
The just the concept of churches not being sanctuaries anymore. I think that that was really a statement to me because churches have always been sanctuaries. It's just kind of an understood thing, even in different countries and stuff. But they were also talking about the people who were here seeking asylum, and not the Mexican immigrants, but people from other places. I mean, they're not really being discriminatory with who they're getting to be deported. And some people had legally gone through the process of becoming protected because they were seeking asylum.
Yes, the temporary
So,
protected status. Yes. Yes.
so my the biggest thing in my mind that just won't stop screaming is, what are we doing? How are we going to fix this? What is our recourse? What is our, there's two sides to this discussion, and where are those other people who think it's wrong? How is this happening without a legal process? I don't understand it. I mean, it's just way too big for my head to comprehend.
Yeah.
What
I think
happened to
that's
our
the scary
legal
part too,
process?
is that um, with it's pretty clear that there's a concerted effort to overwhelm with the shock and awe of all of the orders that are being issued, like one after the other every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And that so there's that, and there's the fact that they know that they control all aspects of government. So what and then two, even when you have um like lawsuits that are attempting to prevent these things from occurring, or to at least fight against them in some way. We know that there are so many judges that were appointees, that are, in the pocket of our current administration, and also our current administration has shown that they don't have respect even for the course of regular rhythm and duty and law and accepted procedural process, such that there's a question of, you can make something legal or illegal, but what does it necessarily matter if it is not enforced? And so even if the courts were to, um, you know, put some sort of stay on these executive orders and have them hold, and not be implemented, it doesn't necessarily mean that the administration would actually comply with the law. And they may simply decide to be lawless and not be checked, which is really scary. And I try not to think about that, um, because in that case, I don't know what you do. In the case where you do obey at least the minimum um, societal protections that order has afforded us previously, you do have avenues with which to fight it. But if there is no respect for the rule of law or due process and procedure, then I don't know. Um, and sorry, I know I'm rambling at this point, but part of what also really scares me is not just not just the fact that folks are being separated from their families again, and these raids are occurring, but also that perfectly legal citizens have been caught up in these as well. So folk who are legitimate citizens, and this happened the last time too, have been rounded up and had to fight to get back to the US because they just got caught up in a giant net and nobody cared. I saw a post on Reddit about someone who was a Native American who was recently deported, and they were trying to see
Where? To
what they could
Mexico?
do. I don't remember where. I honestly don't know where. They were taken, and their friend was saying like, I don't know where they are right now. And they were trying to find ways to like get help with the person. I lost the post. I don't have it anymore. I'm sorry. But just things like that. That's like you can't get more egregious than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've read stories about a guy that was like actually had his papers, his I don't know if it was a passport or a visa or whatever it was, with him, and they refused to look at it, and he stayed in jail, or maybe I guess jail isn't the technical term, but it's jail nonetheless, and for like 9 months. And those places are so violent that he had, permanent damage from a head injury, from a fight being in there. So yeah, those stories are horrible. Lynn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we're already at the point of constitutional crisis. It's just a matter of, you know, who's going to do what when. Um, because it's apparent that this administration is showing once again that it has no respect for the rule of law because they think they are the law. Um, the 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 best way that I think we can put it is, you know how people always say we make everything about race. You liberals, by golly, everything is about race. But I think that the white male in America in power, and Elon Musk is from South Africa, by the way. So that tells you a lot. I mean, the High Hitler salute right before the inauguration that I've seen. If you imagine this administration, think of slavery, think of a plantation. This administration sees themselves as the masters of the plantation. The plantation is the United States of America. And they make the laws and they say what is and they say what isn't, and everyone is supposed to do what they say. And if you don't do what they say, you're going to face the consequences. So that's it on a human level. On a spiritual level, I will submit to you Ephesians 6:12, the King James Version says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places."
Hmm.
And
That's
so,
powerful, Lynn. That is powerful, and but I don't know. Thinking about the powers of darkness makes it almost too overwhelming to even.
yeah, that's why I still haven't watched the news. I mean, it's
Yeah, and
because I
I think one of the things that I've I mean, there was certainly a while after the election that that I just couldn't even hear anything. And I still, I've never been
still can't.
somebody that really watches the news. I need to get my news filtered by
Mm-hmm.
positive sources. I have to hear it from friends or something. Or sources that I really trust and can take in small doses. So like comedians. Comedians are good sources of this. But anyway, but I just feel like at this point, like I'm not allowed to tune out. I just feel like it's not time. Like whenever I can be present, I feel like I need to be. And I know not everybody can be in that space, and not everybody should be. But some people need to stay um uh just sit it out and try to take care of themselves. We all have to take care of ourselves first and love ourselves first and set our boundaries. So there's that. But I do think there's always something that we can do as individuals, and sometimes we can just join a collective. Um, I I wasn't able to go, but Marco and his caregiver Lisa were able to go to Santa Fe on Monday. Yeah. Well, let me tell them what it is first. It was a march regarding immigration. Yeah. Now, what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, cái bàn mà bữa cái mẹ cái mà cái bà cái bà cái biểu cái có cái vậy cái kia cái mẹ
Lots of good energy and chants and yeah.
cái
14, what did they say? 1,400 people, something like that.
think so.
And
cái
so we heard about it from a group called Taos Immigrant Allies, and so Craig Puckett wrote "Go King Marco." So
go.
so yeah, I think that was really powerful. And one of the things like one of the changes that was made in expanding the enforcement measures is that they're expanding it's called 287G, I think, agreements, where local law enforcement people can be deputized to enforce federal immigration laws. And so what this march was trying to do here in New Mexico was to have a state passed that says it is to make it illegal for local law enforcement to help with some of these federal raids and mandates. And so I think it certainly has a better chance of passing here than in a lot of states. But I do think it shows that when we show up and speak up, that there is some difference that can be made. And I do want to say one thing about sanctuary. I don't remember who was talking about this. I don't think it was anyone in this group, although Suzette, correct me if it was you. But about churches, what some of the churches are doing to kind of remain a safe space is that without a warrant, ICE can come into public spaces, and that includes churches. Now, churches were designated as sanctuaries, and I don't know if you can still get a sanctuary designation for some things, but most churches are no longer considered sanctuaries anymore. But there in any business, in any public space, there are private spaces like employee break rooms and private offices and things like that. And you can put big signs on these private spaces that say that these are private spaces. And then all of those things like that are on the red cards or on the forms, where you can say, I don't want you to come in. You don't have permission to come in. I need to see a warrant. in all of those things can happen in the private spaces, including in the church. So if there was ever a raid or something in the church, then anybody who was at risk or, that could go to those private spaces and be protected.
Yeah, Founders in LA started that, and it's been circulating. It's been circulating online. Do you know if there's any? I haven't seen any other responses from MCC about all of this. Have you seen any?
I've been kind of keeping my eye out for emails from them, and I haven't seen the official statement yet. I think Reverend Mona just joined us, and maybe Reverend Mona might know.
I just want to say there will always be those who will stand up and do the right thing. Always.
Yes,
Even
there
when
will be. And I think
Yeah.
it's good for us to talk about that and be together. I mean, because there we can form a wall. We can form a wall around the vulnerable people.
Mhm.
We can. The only thing, Suzette, that I saw was the moderator asking about some of the marches. They're asking if the marches in the individual states were if that was legitimate, and wanting to support it and just putting out some concern for everyone in this country. Reverend Mona, speak up if you know anything else.
I
from
just
him.
know that the church, that Raymond and the fellowship is coming out with a statement. I've gotten one here recently from Cathedral of Hope, Houston. Dallas. That Neil put together. So I have that one, of which I want to send to Raymond, so that he can review it and see if Resurrection can use any of it. But that's the only one that I know of right now, is Cathedral of Hope in Dallas. I'll be happy to send it, since it's in the news. So
Yeah, that would be good. Cathedral of Hope is no longer MCC, but they have MCC roots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am the kind of person that even though I stay out of the news cycle, I'll like be at the demonstration and I'll be there as a body to be a layer to protect the bodies that are vulnerable. Like, I can't always look at the news, but I'll fight like an ally in the actual action of things. And I was kind of like that in Abilene too, when I was part of the Abilene Pride Alliance. That's like a very small gay rights organization. It's the only one in town. But when I was there, I didn't look at all the news stories about us. I didn't really look at the coverage of the things that were happening, but I was like doing the work. And that's kind of where I have to be with these issues right now, is I can't just watch the news constantly. But if I hear about something and I'm able to, I want to be there, or I want to do something, or I want to like spread the word. Like I shared with Bob what Founders was doing, right? But I can't just constantly be looking at the news. But I'll show up if something is going on. But that's about as far as I can go.
I hope it didn't sound like I was advocating for people to watch the news all the time. I'm definitely not.
No, I just can't. Like I just can't. I just don't have space for that. But I do have space for the work.
Right. Gregor?
Well, I think if the orange one, who is suing 60 Minutes for $10 billion, if he actually gets that show pulled off the air, then, I think that's going to bring the situation we're in right now to a whole new level when you start controlling national press and, what can and what can't, how we could or could not be informed. And I'm not, 60 Minutes has probably been the most watched news magazine ever since I was a child, you know, for 50 years. I don't even know how long that show has been on, but I remember when I was a kid, everybody would gather around the TV on Sunday nights at 6 and watch 60 Minutes. And so I've got my eye on that one and seeing where that goes. And you know, the accusation is rather flimsy, but yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. And you know, if that goes through, then we're not even going to know. You know, we're not even going to get information. I mean,
What is the accusation?
they're saying that they used during their interviews with Kamala Harris for prior to the election, that they took pieces from one section of the interview that was not aired and later clipped on words that she said that made her answers sound better into the part of the show that actually aired. And so I don't know any of the rules and regs from the FCC and all that, but um, if they get a hold of the press like that, then you know, then we might as well say we're living in Russia because you know nothing gets through Putin. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, things did change quite a bit in the 90s, right? When all the FCC rules changed under Reagan, um, and and you know, journalists no longer um, had to prove that their stories were legitimate or that they were unbiased. I guess that's the right word. There was no longer Newsnet did not have to be unbiased. That's when it changed. Was during the Reagan administration. And so yeah, things have really spiraled out. So it seems to me like Trump has, or excuse me, I shouldn't say names, but I think that this, I think that that one party has controlled a lot of the media, certainly Fox News, and a lot of the story has controlled the narrative, and maybe that's gives us a way in to take back the narrative. Lynn?
Yeah, I think the way we can look at it best is this administration is throwing stuff against the wall and just, you know, shocking all and seeing what sticks. You know, so I'll just throw it up here and if they let me get away with it, then, you know, heck, then okay. But it's what we saw when he was in off when there was a Trump administration, you know, back in 2016. So I think we have to remember that. There will be some relief. I think there are decent people who are judges, and that I think when it really comes down to the law, like the birthright, that's been blocked twice by two different judges, and I think that that we have to hope that the guardrails are not as weak as they appear to be. But I think this administration is just, you know, what was it? The Project 2025 is a real thing, and we've already seen what this administration thinks about immigrants. If you just go back and look, and you can see. So, but there's still hope. Got to keep hope alive.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. That is
We do have to
absolutely
keep hope
true.
alive.
We have we
I'm
have to
just
lift
not
each
able
other
to,
up.
you know, like Liam and
All right.
Gabriel, I think said, I just can't watch it right now. It the election was a complete and total blow to my soul, and I mean that sincerely. And I'm not at a place yet where I can engage yet. And some Krager says only 2 years until midterm. So yeah, we have the opportunity to regain one of the houses, maybe the Senate. We can't get rid of the president, but we can certainly make a difference there. So not just presidential election.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, Jared.
everybody. It's been hard. So, I, it, if you know, like I'm like really talkative whenever it comes to like most issues and everything. But a lot of times, whenever we are talking about things here, I find, well, really in general, right? I find that it's intellectualized, right? Like it's like an abstract thing, right? Like it's like those people in Africa, or the people in, Palestine, or like the people, right? Like it that have gone through the genocides, right? What we're like not viewing it with the indignation that it deserves. Like I hear things, I hear you guys whenever y'all talk about things like hope. And I hear you guys whenever you talk about things like, like we have to make sure, we have to be wary that the systems that, like the safeguards hold in place, right? But I feel like the most important part of this conversation is missing. I feel like the correct response is anger. I feel like the correct response is rage, because in the grand scheme of things, most of us will never have to cross the Rio Grande. Most of us will never have to learn a new language. Most of us will never understand what it's like to experience discrimination in the same way that a dark-skinned Mexican American is experienced, right? Most of us won't even go through the legalization process, all 15 or so years of it. And we think in terms of, well, I guess we're gonna have to sit this one out until the status quo, rewrites itself, right? While people die, people go through hardships, people are displaced, people are experienced. So brown people, pay the weight of your peace. So I say all this to say only brown people, us people of color, we're mad, but if we are mad, then we're easy to arrest. Brown people, we are outspoken. But if we're outspoken in the wrong spaces, we won't be searched for by the police. Brown people, when we go to these protests, these demonstrations, right, and we call out people in positions of power, we're more likely to experience hardships through the legal system. And so that's why it's so important for Caucasian people, light-skinned people, to do your best to fight, to be mad with us, because we can't.
Right.
Where we literally, if we're mad,
Right.
if we're driving and we look a little bit pissed, and the wrong police officer sees, right? We're belligerent, right? And then things get, our lives spiral out of control, right? Maybe we get a little false drug charge or something, right?
All of that.
Oh, the stakes are so different because of race. And so that's why I just wanted chime in to inform you of your importance in this conversation, the importance of your anger in this conversation.
Thank you.
Because of your proximity to white men. Oh, to people in positions of power. So
Right.
yeah, please deliver this message to them for me. Thank you. Yes.
Well said. It's anger and it's rage. And that's, I haven't been able to stomach it. It is anger and it is rage. For no other reason than the
Whoa.
color
Hey.
of their skin.
Hey,
Liam or Drew?
That's why it's so important to like prioritize action, like prioritize like the doing of things, because things tend to get intellectualized. I'm not posting a lot on Facebook, but I'm paying attention to, okay, what's like with what Founders MCC is doing, you know, what are some other actions that are being taken that can be taken, right? Because these are tangible actions that actually help, you know, and I think it's important to focus on tangible actions that actually help, because it's great to be visible on an online platform saying things that are compassionate or angry towards the issue, but it's a whole other thing to actually do work, vote,
Yeah.
run for office. Running for office is huge, and not enough queer or progressive people in general are doing that, right? So that's why I try to prioritize more action than I do anything else, is because of that, because I can't handle the news cycle, but like I said, I can be a body in between. And I think that is where I'm the most useful. I'm less useful speaking and more useful acting, I think.
Oh, you're
Because my
speaking.
opinions like on this are not, I'd rather receive, you know.
I think that's wise, but I've heard you speak, and maybe not on this particular subject, but you're a very persuasive speaker, and don't you forget that. Don't put that on
Dude,
the
I can
on
sell the
back
heck out
burner.
of a Build-A-Bear, you know.
Yeah, we gotta use our voices when it, you know, when we can, when it's called for. Juanita?
So in addition to angry, I feel a lot of fear. I'm a realist and I see what's happening, and I feel it does mirror the rise of Hitler, the rise of Maduro in Venezuela, all of these fascist rulers that have ruined perfectly good countries. And when I heard about the possibility that they would use Guantanamo as a facility to house immigrants, that blew my mind. I mean, nothing says more prisoner of war than let's just put them in Guantanamo. You know, there's no humanity. There's blatant racism. I feel like what's happening is essentially a coup on our government. And I am looking for places to relocate, to stay safe for myself and to give others a place to run to when their time comes, because it's not going to get better. The same people that elected Trump are still going to be here in 2 years and 4 years wanting what they want. This is not the country it used to be. And I think the sooner we face that, the sooner we are willing to get out on the street and fight. But I'm of the opinion that it's best to get out early. I don't think we can win this unless some of the people vote for him become affected by some of his new policies. Unless that happens and they decide to switch sides, so to speak, I don't know that it's winnable. And I don't feel like I'm being pessimistic. I feel like I'm being realistic. And I think this country is headed for a really bad change.
Wow. I do think that everyone will be affected in one way or another. And so whether that will change minds or not remains to be seen. But certainly I think everyone will be affected. And one thing I was cautioned recently that even that it's wrong just to dismiss people who voted for him as stupid, and
Right. No,
we
that's
can't
not helpful.
they may have made a stupid decision, a hurtful, harmful decision, but we have to try to build some bridges, because that was so much of our population that that we can't ignore that, and we can't afford to just shut them all out.
Yeah, without immigrants, how is this economy going to survive? Right now, our economy is based on the slave labor that is immigrant labor. You know, are we gonna buy that $50 cucumber? Because that's what it's gonna be when someone is getting paid what they want to get paid to do that job.
And not to mention the Social Security, our whole Social Security system is dependent on immigrants. And
Yes, it is, because they pay and they don't take out.
yes,
Most people don't realize that. They have to pay taxes, but they can't reap the benefits of the taxes they paid when the time comes.
The
well,
pain
that's
has to get
very,
to the right people.
that's your reaction is certainly understandable and brave, and I'm glad that you mentioned bringing other people in. Leo,
Somebody's got to be on the other side to receive them.
Leo and Jared.
So I don't know. Like it's a hard thing, because I can only speak from my perspective as a person of color. But the way I see it, I'm actually kind of in a really mean way. This presidency has brought to light what we've been experiencing for a long time, actually. This presidency actually has brought to the front what has been hidden for a long period of time from the population of believe. I'm gonna be real. People who aren't in positions where they are discriminated against. Like this like there's that saying in the Bible. I don't know if y'all are aware, but I live by it. It goes something like, how you treat the least amongst your God is how you treat me. And I don't know if y'all know, but I mean, y'all been with me for a hot minute. Y'all know I've always been disgusted by Americans' foreign policy, right? Because of that passage, right? If you are able to other people from other lands, then you are easily able to other your own people. And America has never stopped othering its other people, right? And so like the rage that I feel, it's a little bit bigger than just Trump. It's a little bit big because it's been too easy for him to do the things that he's doing for a reason, right? And that reason, and I'm not just going to stop there. That reason is the way was made for him before he made presidency, right? How many people were in office before him that could have prevented these things, right? Quite a few. How many of them were Democrats? Quite a few, right? You have all these people, right, that did not create checks and balances, did not create ways to prevent sociopaths, that left, white supremacy unaddressed, that left, right? These ideals that Trump is now using that have always been there in the American Republic, right? As a way to control and to cultivate what has always been a cult, right? The American Republic, right? The pledge that we do. So I say all that to say this is a reckoning for us, present, like here in this room, right? Because white supremacy, white privilege, capitalism, hierarchies, patriarchy, all of these things won him the election, right? Well, all of these things were left unaddressed by Obama, were left unaddressed by Joe Biden. I mean, Bobby, he's seen now. Were left unaddressed by everyone, really, everyone, right? Every president, right? There are so many people that haven't addressed it, that needed to, that were in positions to, but dropped the ball on that, right? And so much still needs to be addressed. And because Trump is president, it can now not be ignored since he's made this his platform, right? He's made this his entire reason of being. He's a cult leader who's trying to become like America's cult leader, right? And so all these things, these cult-like ideals that America has just pushed off and said, oh, that's just my racist Aunt Carol. I'm not going to talk to her because it's Thanksgiving and I want to keep the peace. Oh, not you, Carol. You're not racist. No, sorry. Bad. Sorry. I love you, Carol. I know. But that's just my racist aunt. I don't know, Gertrude, right? She is, she's just stuck in her ways, right? We're just gonna leave her alone to keep peace, right?
Say Linda, Aunt Linda.
Yeah. Yes. That has Linda in it. No, we're not doing that.
Karen.
But we have kept the peace for too long, right? We have not discussed any of these things that have harmed the people in this room, right? Yeah. We have not have a societal reckoning for all the things that have affected all of the disenfranchised people in this room. And so I'm so grateful for spaces like God Talk. However, the world needs to be having a God Talk now.
Well, we're all capable of little ripples, of sending little ripples out. And just one thing I want to say, and if y'all have, we've gone over time, so if you have something critical that you want to say, put your hand back up. We'll make time for everyone, but we do need to respect people's time. But I don't know, that just I need to, in my mind, I have to keep bringing it back to something that has some semblance of hope. I have and doing action things like Liam said brings a sense of hope for me. Sitting back and just being scared, action pieces make me feel like I'm getting out of it, and I need to feel connected, and groups like this help me feel like I'm not alone in the fight, and I just God Talk, we always talk about our image of God, and I just don't believe there is any power on earth that is stronger than love. I don't think hate is stronger than love. I don't think racism is stronger than love. I think love, and I don't mean that as some kind of abstract Valentine's Day kind of nothing against Valentine's, although not my favorite holiday, but But I mean, just the kind of love that binds us together, the kind of love that can break down walls. That's the kind of love that I mean. And I just hope that we can hang on to that in some sense or fashion, in our own ways, and just hold that forth, that God is love and love is God. Lynn, you had your hand.
And I love that. And I love and love is stronger than hate, although it doesn't always seem that way. So I don't want to point out the problem without offering the solution, because the solution is also in scripture. If my people, which are called by my name, Christians, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. So there's a solution. We have to continue in love. We have to be the example, even through our anger, even through our frustration. We have to continue to love, and it's hard. My goodness, is it hard?
Yes,
But
yes,
we
and
have to do that.
yeah, and other forces like the white Christian nationalists are putting forth their narrative, but we've got our own narrative, and we have to keep speaking that in truth and in love. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for being here and doing this tonight, because that is exactly what each of you have done tonight. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This is a beautiful group, and love all of you. Kreger, would you pray us out?
Absolutely. Holy God, Holy Spirit, Holy Mother, and Holy Father, we are grateful for this opportunity to gather on Thursdays and do the God Talk. That's why we're here. And even though the subject this evening is difficult and painful and brings up all kinds of different emotions, we're talking about it anyway. We're coming together as a community to try to figure how we fit into this new world that we live in, and what are we going to do actually? What are we going to do in terms of an action step to remedy the situation? So tonight we come and we ask you for courage. Most of all, we ask you for strength. We ask you for the greatest love of all time to help keep us propped up. Help us keep speaking up. Help us, help us resist. Joy is an act of resistance. And so we're going to roll with that. And we just thank you for this beloved community. We are the beloved community, whether we're online, in person, wherever. And we need each other's strength as well. And so help us move through all of these things, and help us not to forget our gentleness, our kindness, even in the midst of our rage and anger. We ask all of these in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I'll send those hugs out to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
There is a
Love
movie
you all.
Love
called
you.
Bad Faith on Tubi. Watch it. What
What's
is
it called?
happening has been